Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And look at who we've got here. We have got the lumberjack landlord one-on-one. Let me just say, folks, the reason he hasn't been on the channel one-on-one in a while is because my schedule got all kind of whacked up. And we now do the Three Amigos on Tuesday. So nice to see you, buddy.
It's good to be here. I felt like we were jumping in the time machine, going in the Wayback Machine. But
Hey,
yeah,
well,
good to be here.
one of the things I wanted to talk about is there's a content creator who I personally have stumbled across probably in the last 90 days, Alex Hormozi.
Yeah,
I really like what he's doing.
yeah.
He put out a video, I think it was yesterday, that I shared with you that I just wanted to kind of amplify, and that is how to get rich in 2023.
Mhm.
Act like you're broke.
Yeah,
And I say this uh, with the utmost respect. Most of the people out there are too soft to do anything close to what Alex was talking about, which we will break down. But again, if
yeah.
you want to get rich in 2023, you got to cut back, you got to sacrifice, you got to hustle, you got to. I mean, it's the time you got to make more money and spend less, live below your means. And again, in this video, Alex talked about making 20 grand a month,
Hmm.
and he lived on 1,500.
Yeah.
That's living close to the bone, right?
Mhm.
But let's just talk about it because I think he's right on so many levels. What do you think?
Yeah. So when you sent me that video, I was like 20 on 15 on 20, $1,500 a month on 20. And so I said to Ash, I go, hey, I said, can we look at like 6 years ago, 7 years ago? She's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, seriously? She's like, what are you looking for? And so I told her, and I said, Mike had sent me this video, and I said, and I know our numbers. I said, I feel like we were like that. And she's like, yeah. So I looked at some stuff, and at our peak, we were 33K a month of income, and between 12 and $1,400 a month of spend.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So again, Alex in his video, he was clearly a single guy. He talks about,
Yeah.
sharing a room with a
Yep.
guy
Yeah. I was
and
sharing a
like,
room with a girl. Yeah.
yeah, I like your option better. But anyways, I digress. That's just how I roll. But yeah, it's that's amazing. So I want to
It
make sure I
was.
heard you right.
Yeah.
Your top line revenue or income was 30 grand plus,
Yeah. Like
and you
33.
were spending 50 together. You were spending 1,500.
1300. 12 to 1300. Yeah.
So, okay. So Alex breaks down the three buckets. So I want
Yep.
to ask how this, so in his case, I think he said he was spending $400 for half a bedroom.
Yep.
I'm going to guess you were spending zero because you were house hacking, or what was going on?
Yep. Yeah. We were, I think all in heat, hot water, sewer, all of that stuff was like right around $300 for us.
Okay.
Yep.
Then Alex talks about, I think he calls it his food hacks or whatever.
Hmm.
Basically I think he talked about Chipotle,
Hmm.
and
Chick-fil-A. Yep. We don't have.
Chick-fil-A, and then there
Yep.
there was an Asian fast food joint he talked about.
Yep.
Basically, he always wants 200 grams of protein or something because I guess he's a weightlifter or
He
something.
is. He's a beast.
Um, yeah, he's a big guy.
Mhm.
So what were you doing for food? Were you, because he actually said he ate out because he wanted more time. That was the other interesting wrinkle in the videos. He's like, hey, I spent $20 a day, which is $600 a month eating out, but he ate cheaply and healthy,
Yep.
because he thought going to the grocery store and doing meal prep was a waste of time. What were you guys doing for food?
Ate cheaply and unhealthy.
That was the whole dollar menu McDonald's.
It was no, that was the treat. So that was the
Oh,
treat.
okay. Oh,
So
that was
the
the treat.
no, yeah, that was the treat. Yeah, that was the treat. It was for me, it was a lot of PB&J, but it was buying old bread. So
Uh,
you can buy, instead of spending $3 or $4 on a loaf of bread, you could buy bread that was like 3-day old bread or whatever, and you could buy it for 99 cents for the entire loaf.
mhm.
And then we would buy at like BJ's. BJ's kind of like Costco, and so it's like $10 for a membership there, and so you could get like the diesel size jellies and peanut butters. And so it was PB&J, it was a ramen noodle. We would, still do like spaghetti and stuff, but we'd make the entire box of spaghetti, which would be, again, you could buy that stuff on sale where you could get like 5 boxes or 6 boxes for $5. And so we'd make one of those and then you could reheat it like 3 times in a week. But like our eating out hacks were like Wednesdays was like a Domino's night because you could get a large carry out pizza for $5.99. Okay. So yeah, it was just really kind of hacking like that where we could kind of figure out that one of our other things was Cumberland Farms, a convenience store around here. If you know when they're putting out that, if you know what their hot dog schedule is, I kid you not. If you know what their hot dog schedule is, you can actually get. So you would get a large drink and 2 hot dogs. They had a special. It would be like $2.69. And so we would do that. And so it's like we'd get out of there, and dinner was $6 for the pair of us. So, but we lived life like that. Like we legitimately would. We could also do like a crock pot of like chili, and we would do that crock pot of chili, and then I'd have chili for like 5 out of my next 15 meals, and Ashley would bring that to work and heat it up. So we did all that stuff. Yeah.
And then cars, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're here, right? You talked about buying a 5 to 10-year-old car, pay cash, no debt.
Yep.
And I'm guessing same thing, same story.
Yeah, I crushed that number. It was, forget 10 years old. My shit was 20 years old. Or older. But what I did was I learned about cars. And so I did a little bit of learning about cars. I would talk to mechanics all the time. Hey guys, what is the car that you never see? Or when you do, it's super cheap to fix. And they're like, why do you ask? I was like, because I don't want to tell you anymore. Give me a break. So we did. So I had a car that was, I paid a friend of mine a couple $100, and I said, listen, just let me go to the car auction with you. And I hooked up with him. Went to the car auction, and I was able to buy a car at the auction. So I bought it for wholesale, but I bought it for cash. I paid like $2,300 for it. That was my wife's car, and my car I paid $700 for. Wow. So, and that's that's what we drove.
So how long did you and Ashley kind of live that way?
Probably 10 years, close to 10
Oh my
years.
goodness, 10 years, PB&J, reheating spaghetti, chili. So again, I want to do the math.
Food was the first thing that got upgraded, but not the cars. Yeah.
So again, you were making 33, you were spending, I'm going to do easier math, 2.
Yeah.
So you were net positive 31. Now, so just so I'm clear, that 33, was that gross or net?
So that was gross. And then so we had some rental properties in there. Yeah. Yep. So we were probably like take home. We were probably
20-ish.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say, right around there.
So you were putting away, or you had the ability to put away about 18 grand a month, which is $216,000 a year.
Yeah, correct.
So where did it all go?
The next property, the next property, the next property, the next property.
And again, that was the plan. You were in it together.
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, that was one of the first 3 dates conversations that we had, where I just said, hey, listen, this is the path I'm on, and I totally get it if you don't want to do it. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
It sucks.
Yeah.
And then I mean,
it's hard.
Yeah, and like being a sales guy on the road, right? Like we get food comped.
Yeah.
I traveled a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I had a lot of steak dinners.
Exactly. And I rate really well. Like I got to the point where I was kind of sick of getting filet, but not anymore because I don't travel really anymore. But that's what we did. And so we had that conversation very early on in our dating life. And she's like, no, I'm all in. She's like, I'm really feeling it. She's like, I don't know how I can help. And so my wife is the most amazing wife ever, because she just says, I'm not sure how I can help, but I know I can help. And so just help, utilize what I can do, or figure out what I can do, and find me a spot.
Awesome. So the other thing you've done, because you're a part of my Get Your Money Right course, is you put this in there, the tracking spreadsheet. Were you both tracking where your dollars were going way back when?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's such an easy thing to do that nobody does.
It is. Well, the other thing that we did too was, and my wife, I love her, but she wasn't militant like I was. Like, moths the size of pterodactyls would come out of my wallet if cash was going to leave. because it just didn't happen that often. Yeah, exactly. Just like careful, and so
What's
for
happening
her,
right now?
I never. Here's a funny fact about me: I've never used my debit card.
Yeah, I've never used it either.
I've
Yeah.
never used my debit card.
I've
Not
shredded
once.
mine. I don't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't use. So I was always a cash guy, and if it was something for the business, it would always go on just one card. Just that simple. And I pay off my balance at the end of the month. That's the way it goes. Now, when the Great Recession hit, yeah, we had cards with loaded. I had cards loaded up with balances because that's how I was keeping my business alive. But that's why after a few, we had to kind of get to that lifestyle because it was 8, 10, 12, $15,000 a month, 16, $18,000 a month that I was paying down on debt. Anything that I could do to pay down on debt. So that's why it was like in a couple of years, we were out of any kind of bad debt that we had. The only thing we had at that point was mortgages. We were down out of HELOCs. Like everything was gone. And we still then drove, dumpy, crappy cars. And then we would say the next chunk of money, we would then use that because we had to buy at 20% or 25% down. Because we still weren't buying. I think we did a couple deals FHA, but I think everything else that we did was standard 10, 20% down.
Wow. So again, one of the things that people need to realize winter isn't coming, winter is here.
Yes.
So, again, Alex talks about this clearly. The lumberjack and I both believe in it. And that is, if you really want to get ahead, you need to start tracking where every dollar is going.
Yeah.
You just need to know. I mean, every single day, no day. I mean, that's the spreadsheet you added to that cheap course, right? Get your money right. And again, it's funny to hear Alex because he just has a way of kind of like, he's a big guy, right? I
Huge.
didn't really. He's a pretty big guy,
Yeah.
staring into the camera, basically dropping F-bombs and swearing every other word, but basically wakes me up. I enjoy his presentation, and I think the advice is solid, and it's great to have another positive contributor out there, right? I think I'm going to add Alex to the rotation because I do think he's trying to help people.
I think he's trying to help people. I think he's trying to help them realize that it didn't happen by mistake. It was like this isn't an oopsie. That's what's so annoying, right? Like your biggest pet peeve is getting called lucky. That's kind of that's my biggest one too, because I'm not here by mistake. I didn't get here by accident. I crushed it for decades, 2 of them, trying to get to where I'm at today. And it was investing, it was self-denial, it was, you don't think that I'd like to take 1-month vacations all the time? Of course I would. You've seen my dream spreadsheet. We did it together. It was like $40,000 a month is what I'd be willing to spend a month on lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's why I can't have 16 rentals like Dion, because
exactly need a couple more.
Yeah, I'm a more expensive date. But that's all. Like, and so that's what I really like about Alex is that it's not by mistake. And the other thing too was like how we selected our cell phones, because that was big with everybody, right? It was whatever I got a great deal on. I've had some of the crappiest phones ever known to man, because I bought, when LG was trying to break in, I got their piece of junk. When Samsung was trying to break in, I bought their piece of junk, because they were like, hey, you can have this one for free, and we only charge you your plan of like $90 a month or whatever. And the whole thing was my company wouldn't pay for the phone, but they would pay for the bill.
Yeah, exactly.
So I didn't have any out-of-pocket costs for that. So yeah, I think it's sacrifice. It's sacrifice. And sacrifice isn't like, well, I'm going to fly business class instead of first class. I think I've flown first class in my life. I think I've flown it once.
Yeah.
And I don't think I pay, and I know I didn't pay for
it. I know you didn't pay for it either.
Yeah. God bless him, right? So yeah, I like Alex. It's very practical advice. And I think that, I think all of the social media stuff is everybody wants to flex, but they're flexing on everyone else's dime. Everything is borrowed. Everything is leveraged to the hilt. Everything is, Mike. So when Millennial Mike came to visit me, we were in the truck, and he starts making a joke about how he's like, man, that truck makes me hot. He was joking about it because it was a total piece of crap. And I said, that's good, Mike, because the heat only sometimes works.
Exactly.
And he sends me, and he's like, ha ha. I was like, not kidding. And then we get in the car and we're driving home. He's like, it's cold in here. I go, yeah, the heat doesn't work. He goes, I thought you were joking. I go, no, the heat doesn't, it works sometimes. I don't, it's intermittent and I'm going to bring it to the shop eventually and get it fixed, but I haven't yet. And so he was freezing because the heat didn't work. But
Yeah.
those are things that I'm willing to live with, you know, because it's like, it just doesn't get up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm broken. I get it.
Yeah. So again, folks, if you want to get rich in 2023, kind of Alex Hormozi, I'll find the link, put it below. It's kind of blocking and tackling. I would tell you most people don't track your expenses. Most people do not sacrifice nearly as much as you and Alex did.
No.
Again, there's three things, and Alex goes through them. Shelter. He had a roommate in a bedroom. You house hacked and lived for free. Food, you can house hack, you can cheat code food. There are cheaper. Alex went healthy, so he spent a little more. You can go the other direction. And then cars.
Mhm.
Where you tackle the big three, then you can stack paper, you can save. And as Alex talks about it, that allows you to make moves. Because the one thing I loved about Alex, kind of how he wrapped it up, is your risk tolerance goes up when you're printing 15 grand a month that goes in
Yeah.
savings, right? You can take more risks. Where if you're living paycheck to paycheck, your risk tolerance goes way down.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was, for us, it was like we were willing to take on because we were buying houses, during the Great Recession. And so, 9, 10, 11, 12, you remember buying foreclosures, you couldn't do an inspection.
Dude, you were talking about, oh, is a window broken so I can sneak in, or yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
I
Like,
remember.
and so bought a bunch of those. And sometimes you get got and sometimes you don't. But we could afford the get got because we lived so ridiculously inexpensively, and that was our biggest key. And even with kids, Sam's now 5 and he was born, we were still house hacking.
Hmm.
And then, but the deal was with Ashley, she's like, I want a house, for the first baby. And I just hadn't finished it in time. So we moved into that. He lived in that house for until he was about 3 weeks old. And then we moved into the new house. And that was the first single family house I had that I didn't hack. I was 40 years old.
There you go. Folks, it's out there for you. I would tell you that recessions are an amazing time to kind of reduce expenses, look at where the money's going, stack paper, and make moves. You have to make moves. You have to find motivated sellers. Assets will be on sale.
Yeah.
As Alex talks about, as Matt talks about, and I talk about, you got to have the guts and the cojones to do it. And people are going to be watching us do it the next couple of years, which I appreciate. Where can people find you?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and Instagram, and my live stream Sundays at 11:30. And I think the course is going to be out in January, which I'm real excited about. Yeah. It's a
Awesome.
lot. Thanks.
Thank you, buddy. Mhm.